When most people hear the phrase employee journey, they immediately think about onboarding. A new employee joins the company. HR sends paperwork. IT provisions a laptop. Payroll gets set up. Training is assigned. That all feels like an employee journey, but I'd argue those aren't the journey at all. They're just moments. The real journey is everything that connects those moments together. And that's where I think many HRSD projects go wrong. We spend weeks discussing workflows, approvals, lifecycle events, and integrations, but very little time asking one simple question. What experience are we trying to create for the employee? Because employees don't experience workflows, they experience your company. Welcome back to CloudCTW. If you're new here, this channel is all about helping you build ServiceNow skills that scale by teaching you how architects think. Because learning features will help you build solutions. Learning how to think about those solutions will help you build systems that last. So in this video, I don't want to teach you how to configure an employee journey. I want to show you how I think about one. Because when someone asks me to design an employee journey, my first thought isn't, which ServiceNow feature should we use? So let me show you what I mean. Imagine an employee gets promoted. From their perspective, one thing happened. I got promoted. But inside the organization, that one event creates work everywhere. HR updates the employee record. Payroll changes compensation. IT adjusts access. Learning assigns new training. Facilities may prepare a new workspace. Every department sees its own process. The employee sees only one experience. That's the architect's challenge. If every department optimizes only its own work, employees end up navigating disconnected handoffs instead of one coordinated journey. That's why great employee journeys aren't built by connecting workflows. They're built by connecting people. Whenever I'm sitting in a design workshop, there are 3 questions I always ask before we talk about technology. First, what is this employee experiencing? Are they excited because they're starting a new job? Nervous because they're becoming a first-time manager? Or stressed because they're taking a leave of absence? Those situations require completely different experiences, even if many of the technical steps look similar. If we misunderstand the moment, we'll build the wrong solution. Second, what has to happen behind the scenes to make that experience possible? Now we're looking at coordination. Who owns each decision? Where are the dependencies? Where do handoffs occur? Most project problems aren't technical, they're organizational. Technology simply exposes process problems that already existed. And finally, what's the simplest technical design that supports that experience? Notice this question comes last. Only after we understand the employee and the business do we start talking about journeys, lifecycle events, HR cases, flow designer, or employee center. Technology should support the experience, it shouldn't define it. Let's make this practical. Imagine a company asks you to build an onboarding process. Most teams immediately start building activity sets and activities. But I'd ask a different question. What should a successful first day feel like? When the employee logs in or walks through the front door on day 1, what should already be true? Maybe their laptop is waiting for them. Their accounts work. Their badge gets them into the building. Their manager already has a plan for their first week. They know where to find information. They know who to contact if they need help. Instead of spending their first day figuring out how the company works, they're spending it becoming part of the company. That's the experience we're trying to create. Now we can work backwards. What has to happen before that employee ever starts? HR needs to complete the hiring process. The HRIS becomes the source of truth for the employee's information. IT provisions. Hardware and accounts. Security grants the right access. Payroll prepares compensation. Learning assigns role-specific training. Facilities prepares a workspace if one is needed. Notice what we're doing. We're not building tasks. We're identifying the capabilities the organization needs to deliver that first-day experience. Only now do I start thinking about ServiceNow. Because now I have enough context to decide which platform capabilities best support the journey. For onboarding, this is where a lifecycle event makes a lot of sense. The lifecycle event becomes the orchestration layer. It coordinates work across HR, IT, security, payroll, learning, and any other fulfillment teams involved in onboarding. Each department still owns its work. But ServiceNow coordinates the activities, so they feel like one connected journey instead of a series of disconnected requests. Then I ask another question. Will every employee have the same journey? Probably not. A software engineer doesn't need the same onboarding experience as someone in finance. A first-time manager has responsibilities that an individual contributor doesn't. An executive may require leadership introductions, governance meetings, or additional provisioning. This is where I start thinking about Journey Accelerator. Instead of creating a completely different onboarding process for every employee type, Journey Accelerator lets you extend the experience with role-specific guidance. For example, a new manager might receive manager-specific activities. An executive might receive a different set of guided activities focused on leadership onboarding. The employee still experiences one onboarding journey, but the guidance adapts based on who they are and what they need. That's a much more scalable design than creating separate onboarding workflows for every scenario. And that's the architectural mindset. The lifecycle event orchestrates the operational work. Journey Accelerator personalizes the experience. Employee Center becomes the place where employees and managers can see what's happening, understand what comes next, and complete the activities that matter to them. Those aren't separate features. They're different parts of the same architectural solution. That's the difference between implementing onboarding and architecting an employee journey. As projects grow, every department wants an exception. Some of those requests are legitimate. Many are simply preferences. One of the most valuable things an architect does isn't adding complexity. It's protecting the platform from unnecessary complexity. The goal isn't to build the most sophisticated solution. It's to build the simplest solution that still solves the business problem. Simple systems scale. Complicated systems become technical debt. Here's what I hope you remember. Employees don't judge your workflows. They judge their experience. They don't care how elegant your flow designer logic is. They care whether the company made an important moment in their career easy or difficult. That's why employee journeys matter. We're not just automating work, we're shaping how people experience an organization. So the next time someone says, "We need an onboarding process," or "We need a promotion workflow," don't open ServiceNow first. Start with a different question. What experience are we trying to create? Because once you answer that question, the technology becomes much easier to design. And that's how architects think. If you're trying to grow beyond simply building HRSD solutions and start designing experiences that scale across teams, countries, and years of platform growth, you're in the right place. That's what we do here at CloudCTW. Every week we'll break down not just how to build with ServiceNow, but how to think like the architects who design the platforms organizations depend on. If that sounds like the kind of HR service delivery professional you want to become, consider subscribing. And if there's a particular HR ServiceNow concept you'd like me to break down in a future video, whether it's onboarding, offboarding, leave of absence, promotions, or something else, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.